My name's Andy, this is Lisa, and we're going to get rolling here. Now, I played a lot of music when I was young and my ears hurt. So we're not going to sing with the mic. So this mic here is for the people at home to maybe hear something. And so we're gonna sing a few songs. Other than without the mic, it means you guys get to be heard today. And so we'll be listening for you and grading on diction and pronunciation. All right, so this first one is called "Oh Love That Will Not Let Me Go," which we've sung before, but we visited my sister's church in Memphis, and they did it like this, and we thought, well, that's easier.
Feel free to stand up and join us.
salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life.
Thank you.
At this time, we are going to dismiss kids for godly play. That's ages 4 through 5th grade. So you guys can head on back.
You're welcome to be seated. We're going to do another song. This one's new to us, but Brian suggested this one, and it's really good. It's called Sanctuary, and it kind of talks about the church as a refuge.
Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on, carry on. This one knocked me to the ground. This one dropped me to my knees. Should have seen it coming, but it surprised me. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on, carry on. In a state of true believers, on streets called us and them, it's gonna take some time till the world feels safe again. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on, carry on. You can rest here at Imago or with a circle of friends, a quiet grove of trees or between two bookends. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember? Bring me sprigs of rosemary. Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on.
All right, now is our 7-minute greeting time. So feel free to get up and get some coffee, some snacks, fellowship with each other, and we'll see you in 7 minutes.
It's cash, which is what you want.
Good morning. I'm so sorry, Elmer. Okay. I do have a few announcements today. One, just for fun. If you didn't know, we brought our granddaughter today. So, Fran is back there. Angela has it. I mean, if you would like to see her and give her a little cuddle, I'm sure she Don't listen to Elmer. Never listen to Elmer. You know. What? Never. Okay, so a couple of announcements. The first one is Melinda is on vacation, a well-deserved vacation, until July 7th. So if you have an emergency or if someone's in the hospital, please contact the leadership team by email. I think it's up on the screen at some point, but it's leadership@imagodaychurch.org. So, or you can leave a message at 815-310-0901. And again, I think that's up there. If not, we're going to send out an email and put it on Facebook, so you'll be able to find it. Next Sunday, June 29th, is Pride Sunday. We will have sandwiches, and there will be a gluten-free and vegetarian options. And we just ask if you want to stay, please stay and join us for the potluck. Just bring a side or dessert. That would be great. And then July 6th, so 2 weeks from today, is Exploration Sunday. We do not have service that day. There's no church here that Sunday, so feel free to go to another church and see their services, do something in nature, do something different to celebrate God those days. I'm going to do the prayer requests in just 1 second. Okay. I'm not as organized as Melinda, sorry. The first prayer request is for Evelia, Harlan, and Knowledge, that they always remember how much Dawn and TJ love them. And then also, please pray for their situation. Just keep them all of them in your prayers during this time. Praise for the one, I'm sorry, I even forgot what it was. We pray to the Lord, thank you. Okay. And then praise for the wonderful things Lula is doing. We thank the Lord. Sorry. Okay, thank you. For Trina, who has been fighting a sore throat and a cough all week, and for my friend who's in an abusive relationship and got a ride and moved to Tennessee. Lord, Lord in our gratitude, something. I'm not even going to try because I'm not going to remember it. I'm sorry. Prayers for Papa's back surgery. So apparently that's Elmer, so we pray for Elmer's upcoming surgery. Thank you. For my neighbor who is really struggling with his mental health, and for our unhoused friends in this extreme heat in the coming days. Please, this is from Lisa Hatfield, please pray for my dad who has some heart issues and is waiting to find out if treatment is possible. And for my friend and coworker whose mother's funeral was yesterday, it's from Holly. Okay, and now Brian is going to do the sermon today.
Good morning, friends. And, I'm Brian. My pronouns are he, him. I work with the formation team here at Imago. And so don't worry, we didn't skip scripture reading. We are going to come back to that in a minute. So we're going to do a little work here first, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So we'll do that. So hold on. There we go. My tablet messed with me and turned off just as I said that. So I'm going to take that as some kind of sign. So we've been talking about Elijah. So we've finished up our series on Elijah, but we're going to be staying kind of in the same theme of that today. Today we're talking about the idea of sanctuary. And so I posted on our Facebook page for Imago Day the video that has kind of my idea of sanctuary. It's the scene from Hunchback of Notre Dame when Esmeralda's down there. She's about to be burned at the stake, and Quasimodo leaps off the cathedral, and he swoops down and grabs her and takes her back up to the church, and then he declares sanctuary to everyone. And that's a very dramatic scene, but that's what I think of, right? That idea of being safe and protected when you are in danger. In the idea of sanctuary, one of the things that comes across is there's three elements that we see a lot. One is the idea of there's some kind of danger, right? The other idea is that you have to run someplace, usually someplace sacred, like a church or a temple or something like that, and then get there. And then the last idea is that, sorry, my tablet keeps turning off and it's very distracting. So, okay, all right. Once you get there, once you get that sacred place, you are safe from whatever the danger was that was chasing you. So I was curious about this idea. Where did it come from? Why do we have this idea? And of course I thought, oh, well, it must be in the Bible a lot. People must be always running for sanctuary in the Bible. That seems like a biblical idea. But of course, when I actually read the Bible, no, it only happens twice in all of the Bible. So we're going to talk about those two times when someone claimed sanctuary and how that worked out for them. So the first one comes from 1 Kings chapter 1. And the person that's claiming for sanctuary is Adonijah. So Adonijah was one of King David's sons. And this was the time when David was getting older. He was near the end of his life. And so all that jockeying for who will be the next king was happening. Everyone was kind of making their claim for it. So David, of course, being David, he was very old and feeble, but he couldn't just have anyone taking care of him. So he had his workers go out and scour the entire country and find the most beautiful young woman to come and be his nurse. And so she would keep him warm and take care of him, and I'm sure say nice things to him and make him feel good. So he brought her in. So her name was Abishag, and she was a Shunammite. And so she was like his little nurse during this time. So this is where the state that David is in. So Adonijah is thinking, perfect, Dad is really close to being gone. I would love to be king. I want to make this happen. So he starts to put his plan in motion. So he contacts some key people to help him with this plan. So he's going to seek out some people that were part of King David's royal court. So first he goes to Joab. Joab was David's nephew. He was the chief general of the armies, very important, powerful figure. And so he went to Joab, and Joab's like, sure, I'm going to back you. That sounds great. I'm on your side. And then he also went to one of the high priests. There were two high priests at that time. So he went to one of them to get his support as well. And so he thought, I've got the one high priest on here. I've got Joab. I'm in good shape. So Abiathar was the high priest that you got to help him out. He made some mistakes, though. There are some people he did not talk to. He did not talk to Zadok, who was the other high priest at the time. He did not talk to Benaiah, who was a mighty warrior in the army, very popular, important figure. He also didn't talk to Nathan, the prophet. And if we've learned anything from our recent series, right, if you don't talk to the prophet, it's probably not going to turn out very well for you. Things are going to go bad. And this is kind of what happened to Adonijah. So he got his ideas together, said, okay, I'm ready to go. So he's got his backers. He's going to have a big ceremony to establish himself as king. So he invites all the royal sons except for Solomon. He invites all the royal officials except for those three people that he didn't ask about it. And he's going to have a big ceremony. He's going to sacrifice lots of animals. He's going to establish himself with the people as the new king. So he's doing all this. It's going great. He's having a big party to celebrate being king. Now Nathan, the prophet, hears about this and is not very happy. So he goes to Bathsheba, David's wife, and says, this is what's going on. Adonijah's putting himself on the throne. We have to do something about it. So they make a plan. So Bathsheba goes first to King David. She's very emotional. She makes this big plea. You promised you would put our son on the throne. What is happening? What's going on? She's in the middle of her big speech. Nathan just happens to show up right then. Amazing. And Nathan also says, what's going on? Why are you putting Adonijah on the throne? I thought it was supposed to be Solomon. Their plan works perfectly. Operation, put Solomon on the throne, huge success. David jumps up. He swears, I promise, I will put Solomon on the throne. We're going to make this happen. So he has his three close helpers, Nathan and Zadok and Benaiah. He says, okay, go take my royal donkey, put Solomon on it, parade him through the streets, anoint him as the next king of Israel. So they do this. The crowds love it. They love Solomon anyway. He's very tall. He's very good looking. He's very popular. The crowds go wild. So everyone's super excited about Solomon. So they're chanting. They're marching through the streets. King Solomon, long live the king. Meanwhile, Adonijah's having his little party with his friends about being king. And he hears all this commotion in the streets and wonders what's going on. And a messenger arrives and says, there's another king, and all the people are super excited about him, and they're all coming this way. The party immediately breaks up. Everyone scatters and runs because they're scared of what's going to happen next. Adonijah runs to the altar. He grabs onto the horns of the altar to claim sanctuary. It's kind of like the old equivalent of you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, right? It's kind of like you wouldn't kill a person right here in this holy place, right? So that's where he goes. So they hear about this, and in 1 Kings 1:51, it says, Then Solomon was told, Adonijah is afraid of King Solomon and is clinging to the horns of the altar. He says, Let King Solomon swear to me today that he will not put his servant to death with the sword. So it works. Solomon says, okay, if Adonijah shows that he's a good guy, he can go home safely and it will be fine. So he does, and it seems, is a plea for sanctuary works, sort of, because the story's not over yet. David does pass away. He gives Solomon this long list of people that offended him and hurt his family in his life, that people that you should go take care of when you're King Solomon. He passes away. Solomon becomes the final king. And so everything is going okay, but then Adonijah makes a mistake. He goes to Bathsheba, just because she has a lot of influence with King Solomon, being his mother. And she goes and he says to Bathsheba, would you do me a favor? Would you go to Solomon and tell him to please give me Abishag the Shunammite as my wife? Now remember, that was David's nurse at the end of his life, Abishag. She's back. So he wants to have her as his wife. And I'm not sure why, but Bathsheba goes along with it. Maybe she's like, great, get another cute woman out of here. That's super, I don't care. I'm not sure, but she goes along with it. She goes and asks Solomon for this, and Solomon is not amused with this request. He is not happy. He sees it for the power grab that it actually is. And so he's like, nope, you're done. And he sends Benaniah, his royal assassin, to go kill Adonijah. And it works. He's dead. So he had sanctuary, but only for a little time. It didn't really last. Now, the other person who claimed sanctuary is also part of the same story. It's Joab that we talked about before. So remember, he was the general of all Israel's armies, very powerful, very successful in establishing David's throne, very popular man. But he was on that list, David's naughty list, when he died, of here's people that have hurt us. So Solomon was already thinking about that. And then he was remembering the people that supported his brother instead of him to be king. Now, for some people, for example, that Abiathar guy, the other high priest that we talked about, he just got exiled. He was just sent out of the country. But Solomon decided that Joab needed to die. And so he brings Benaiah in and says, go kill him. Take care of this problem. So Benaiah goes, as soon as Joab hears this happening, he races for the altar. He grabs onto the horns, does the same thing. So Benaiah gets there, and he won't come out. And he just stays there on the altar, and Benaiah's like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do? He's like right there in this holy place. So he goes back to Solomon and says, here's what he's doing. He's just hiding out. He's on the altar, grabbing it. He's really whiny. I don't know. What do you want me to do? And Solomon says, go and kill him and bury him, and we're going to be done with this. So Benaiah does. So Joab's plea for sanctuary didn't do anything. It didn't stay anything. It didn't change anything. So that was interesting to me because I'm kind of a Bible nerd, but it didn't answer the idea of sanctuary. That didn't seem to be something that people actually did. So I kept looking. I was wondering, where did this practice come from? And actually, anthropologists have found this idea of sanctuary in almost every ancient culture and across every religion. They almost all have some idea where there was a place you could go to be safe, a place that you could go that was holy and special, and if you could make it there, you would be protected. And in the Bible, too, they have an idea in there. They're called cities of refuge. So we hear about that in Numbers 35, God tells Moses, and in Joshua 20, God tells Joshua to create these cities of refuge, places where people could go. If they had accidentally killed someone, they could race to that city and stay there, and they would not be killed before they'd had a trial, a fair trial, hopefully, right? So they had they established these cities. What's interesting is these were all part of the nation of Israel. They were all right there. So you didn't go to another country for safety. You didn't have to go far away. There was always a city that was fairly close to you where you could go if this happened. And so that practice is in the Bible, and we do hear about them establishing these cities. In our regular history, in England, they had sanctuary laws. Most scholars give credit to King Ethelbert. He did this in 600 CE. It was an official law that churches were a place of sanctuary. And of course, because we're humans, it was all complicated. So they had levels. You could be like a special church that was extra sanctuary, and then you could be a regular church, and they had all these rules about whether it would work or not. But that was a very established custom. People knew that was a place they could go to be safe. If they were in danger, if they had committed a crime, if they were being persecuted, they could go to a church. And those laws stayed on the books for over 1,000 years. They were there until King James, the Bible guy, took them off the books in 1632. So that is part of why we think about this idea of sanctuary, right? Today, we do think about the idea of political sanctuary as well, right? Finding ways to be safe. Almost every country has had those rules. The first nations that had words for it were the Greek and Roman cultures. They had a word that actually meant sanctuary. That's the first recorded that we see of it. But lots of cultures have had this idea. And the United Nations actually put it into official wording in 1948. As part of their Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they said these two things. One, everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. Again, they're talking about political persecution. And two, this right cannot be invoked in the case of persecution that's genuinely arising from non-political crimes or that works against the purposes of the United Nations. So he had, again, caveats there. But there was this idea that you should have a safe place to go, right? You should have a safe place to go. So we come to this idea of sanctuary with all this context. A lot of it just cultural, right? In our mindset of what sanctuary is and what it should look like. But this idea feels more important now than ever when we watch the news, right? We see the most vulnerable people who need sanctuary. And we worry, right? We are afraid for the people that we love that they will not have the protection that they need. So this idea, again, is still around. It's still really important. So we're going to go to our scripture reading now and kind of continue to explore this idea of sanctuary. So Carrie's going to come up and read this for us. She's going to be reading a psalm that David wrote. Most translations of this psalm have the word sanctuary like all the way through it. This one, annoyingly, does not. But it has the idea of David longing for sanctuary. And so as you're listening to the scripture, be thinking about where do you hear those ideas of sanctuary coming up? Where do you see the things that David is longing for as he talks about in the psalm? And then we'll talk about it when she's done. Thanks, Carrie.
Psalm chapter 27, verses 4 through 10, and it's entitled The Voice. I am pleading with the Eternal for this one thing, my soul's desire, to live with him all of my days in the shadow of his temple, to behold his beauty and ponder his ways in the company of his people. His house is my shelter and secret retreat. It is there I find peace in the midst of the storm and turmoil. Safety sits with me in the hiding place of God. He will set me on a rock high above the fray. God lifts me high above those with thoughts of death and deceit that call for my life. I will enter his presence, offering sacrifices and praise. In his house, I am overcome with joy. As I sing, yes, and play music for the Eternal alone, I cannot shout any louder. Eternal One, hear my cry and respond with your grace. The prodding of my heart leads me to chase after you. I am seeking you, Eternal One. Don't retreat from me. You have always answered my call. Don't hide from me now. Don't give up on me in anger at your servant. You have always been there for me. Don't throw me to the side and forget me. My God and my only salvation. My father and mother have deserted me, yet the Eternal will take me in.
Okay, so here's the part where we kind of talk about the scripture. So what I would like to know is, what did you notice in that psalm? What kind of stood out to you? Are there parts that resonated with you, that you could relate to the feelings that Dave's expressing? Or maybe what did you notice that seems to talk about sanctuary in there?
Honestly, this might not be like a super positive take, but
natural question, right? Why is this not happening now? Yeah. She's coming over. 27.
Testing.
I guess, like you said, in those days they thought a certain church or people saw refuge and sanctuary and thought that they would be a protected people. And I think that's a misconception. Just because you believe in God and seek his kingdom, that we're protected from the outside world. I mean, we still die just like the rest of everybody else. And like Holly said, you know, everybody's looking for sanctuary right now, I think, in the world. And where do we get that at?
Yeah, thanks, Elmer.
I know that David didn't have Jesus, but I think that the labor of my spiritual life in Jesus has been the realization that God does not hide from me.
Beautiful. Thank you, Vicki. Sue was asking if we think Peoria is a sanctuary city. It's a hard question. I know there are people in Peoria that are a beautiful sanctuary for people. I don't know if I could say that the whole city itself is, but it's a good question. Any other thoughts?
I don't know if I feel like Peoria, the city as a whole, is a sanctuary city. I know that when I came to Peoria, I found sanctuary here in this church, and some of the members of the community, my husband and I both.
Thank you. I always feel like someone's going to say one more thing. I don't want to cut you off. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I noticed a lot of those same things. Again, this is a Psalm of David, and scholars debate a lot about when in his life he wrote this psalm, whether he's younger, facing Goliath, or older, or who knows. But I think what's important is he's facing big, scary things. You can tell that in the way that he's talking in the psalm. And it's interesting, the first part of the psalm, there's a little bit before the part that Carrie read, he's very confident. He's talking about how great God is and how much God protects him and how good everything is. And then you see this kind of shift around verse 7, and it moves more to a pleading, asking for help. Don't hide your face from me. There's that more of a longing and chasing after God, that more idea. It feels less secure, a little more scared. And that has led some scholars to think that maybe this was two psalms that got squished together into one. I think that's maybe more just human nature, right? How many times have we felt confident in some ways, but also scared to death in the other? We've held both those things at the same time. I think that's kind of what David is doing here, something that we often do. All the way through there, you can tell that David wants peace. He wants safety. He wants protection. He wants to be physically safe from his enemies, but he also wants to feel safe. He wants to feel emotionally safe as well. So thinking about that idea of sanctuary, I was wondering, what does that look like today? What does sanctuary look like in our culture today? In the Bible, again, they use that word a lot, about 133 times, and it can mean lots of things. Often it's like a physical place, like the temple. It would be wherever the Ark of the Covenant was, in a tent or in a tabernacle. Sometimes it's just talking about a gathering place for believers. Sometimes it talks about the heavenly sanctuary, where we'll end up in heaven one day. They use it that way sometimes. Some of my favorites are when God just talks about being the sanctuary for people. In Isaiah 8:14, God says that he is the sanctuary for his people. He is. a building, not a tent. He is that for them. And in Ezekiel 11:16, he says, even though his people are scattered all the way throughout the world, he is a sanctuary for them right where they are. They actually, some translations use the phrase, I'm a little sanctuary for you in those places, which I love that language, right? But he's going to where they are. That's kind of a shift in our thinking about sanctuary. It's not you having to make it to the church or having to make it to this sacred place to somehow earn your sanctuary. God is coming to you in that spot. He's your sanctuary right now, right where you are. There are many, many ways that sanctuary can look in our world. I'm going to talk about two. So one of them is our Sunday morning gatherings right here, and this being a sense of sanctuary. I believe that churches should be sanctuaries, a place where you can come and feel safe and be yourself. Many of us know that that's not always true. Many of us have had experiences where we did not feel safe in a church or in a spiritual community. And I think it's one of the reasons that Imago works extra hard to make you feel safe here. But since the pandemic, lots of people have legitimately asked, why should I bother to get myself to church? Why can't I just stay home in my pajamas and listen to a message there? It's a lot more comfortable. I'm really tired. It's been a rough week. I just need this space. And that is a legitimate question. And I've answered, you don't, to myself many times, right? But we get so used to being on our own during that space, right? We got what we needed from podcasts and Zoom calls and YouTube videos. And then we found it's not the same thing as actually being here together in this space. Now, I understand I'm preaching to the choir because you got here, so thank you. But I think we all know that, right? When we're actually physically together, we can be a sanctuary for each other in a way that just doesn't happen in other settings. Here, we can be honest with each other. We can see each other for what we actually are, right? We can let people know that you are loved and seen and valued and treasured in this space. When you're here, you can be honest about what's good in your life and honestly what's so bad that you barely got out of bed today. You can be honest about all those things in here. You can ask questions without people telling you that you're a heretic or just a weirdo for asking questions. You can be exactly who you are when you're here without having to match everyone else and fit in. That's a really important part of sanctuary. And I think we all long for that and we all need that. And in our best moments, we find that here in this space. And that's because of you. You are the ones that make this a sanctuary when you come in. I see it every week in the way that you talk to each other. You know, we always joke about that 7 minutes. It is, in many ways, the most sacred time of our Sunday morning. The other kind of sanctuary that's really important that we're going to talk about today is us going out into the world and being sanctuary. I think it's one of our callings as believers, not just to stay in our sanctuary here, but to go out and provide sanctuary for other people in other spaces. These moments of sanctuary could be really brief. They could be a quick interaction at the grocery store. They could build into something longer, where there's a longer connection with someone and you invest in someone over a period of time. And you never really know when you start off how it's going to end up. But you still have to take that chance to be that sanctuary for someone. There are lots of things that can look like when you're being sanctuary. One of the biggest is just to notice people, to see them when you're out and about. It's hard. I am the worst at this. If I go to the grocery store, I will go in and out and I will not encounter a single person the whole time, no matter how crowded it is. I'm on a mission to go. If Laura goes to the grocery store, she will know the life history of every single person in that store before she leaves. She will. It's noticing. Another part is just extending grace towards people and knowing that this little part that you see of them in this moment is only one part of who they are. Literal tip of the iceberg, right? We don't know. And we've heard that a million times. It's almost getting to be a cliche, but there's so much more going on in their life that we don't see. We have to remember that. So extending grace is an important part of that, right? Knowing there's so much more than the fact that you just flipped me off when you drove by, right? There's so much more going on in your life. Listening to them without projecting your own story onto them is a challenge. I don't know, maybe you've had that experience where you're trying to tell somebody something and it's hard. It's hard for you to even share this tough thing, and then their story is spilling all over the top of your story. And we do that with good intentions, right? We're trying to show that we relate to you, we understand you, we know how you feel, we're trying to connect with you. But what happens is when we spill our story all over their story gets blocked out. We're not hearing them, we're just hearing us and the ways that we see their story. So trying to hold that back is an important place of making sanctuary, giving people space to just tell what they need to tell. Listen to hear, absolutely, Elmer, yeah. Kind of going along with that is just the avoiding the urge to have a quick fix to whatever they're sharing. Again, this is a killer one for me. I am a fixer down to my core. I want to make it better for you. It's very hard for me to turn that off. But part of it, selfishly, is I want to fix it because it is making me super uncomfortable and I want to get out of the space. So if you're telling me something hard, I really want to fix it so I can go over here and not feel bad. It takes a lot to just let that go and not fix it, just listen. And if they ask for help, of course step in and help, but not project that in there because you want to resolve their problem quickly so you can untangle yourself from their problem. A lot of it for being sanctuary for people out in the world is just giving them a little bit of calm in the middle of their day. And there are a million practical ways to do that. You all are so good at doing this. It's silly for me to even tell you, but it can be like anything. It can be just making a call or a text or an email. It can be sending a note or card to someone. It could be watching their kids for the afternoon so they can get their sanity back for a little bit. It could be giving them a gift card to go get ice cream or coffee. Just take some task off their plate, maybe a little bit of cleaning or mowing their yard or something that is weighing them down. Just take that for a little bit. Give them a little bit of sanctuary. Bring them a meal. I know we joke about that all the time, the power of casseroles, but it's a real thing, friends. It is, because what you're doing is, tonight, you do not have to decide what to make, or get the stuff to make it, or put it together, or heat it up, or take care of it. You don't. You get to go freezer, take out, stick it in the oven, and be done. That is what you're actually giving them, not pasta. You're giving them a little bit of peace, a little time to themselves when things are extra hard. One of the biggest parts of being sanctuary for people is just letting them know they can be themselves with you. So they don't have to perform that moment for you. They don't have to blend in with everyone and conform to what everyone else is doing. They can just be themselves in that space. And I would bet a lot of you can think of someone right now who is that for you, or has been that for you at some time in your life, right? Someone that you could just be with them, and you could just show up, and you did not have to change anything to be with them. And we know what that feels like, right? How much we need that. We need those spaces. So being that for other people is one of the things that we're called to do. For a lot of this, honestly, the being sanctuary for people is just being like Jesus, which I know can feel like every single message I ever give. Be like Jesus, go home. That's all we need, right? But it's true. If you look at the way that he interacted with people, with individuals in the Bible, that's what he always did. It was always a sanctuary for them, a space for them. Just think about how he treated the individuals, the women at the well, the man possessed by demons, the blind man, the paralyzed man, that little bitty tax collector up in the tree. All those individuals, right? The people that were overlooked and left behind and pushed aside. Look at how he treated them. He saw them. He listened to them. He touched them. That was a huge thing. Some of them had not been touched for years. He understood them and he gave them that time and that space. He was a little bit of sanctuary to them. There's an awesome thing that I love in the book of Revelation. They talk about how in the end times, and again, not getting into Revelation stuff, but they talk about the idea that in heaven there won't be a temple anymore. There won't be a physical sanctuary, that God is the sanctuary. Jesus is the sanctuary in there. I love that idea. It's really important. I love how it just kind of echoes the transition that happens in the Bible, moving from the sanctuary being a place that you run to being a person who loves you and is with you all the time. That shift is all the way through Scripture. And it's a great picture for us of what we are to be, people that people can be safe with. So we're going to end up our time with the idea about sanctuary with two things. So Laura is going to come read a poem by one of my favorite poets. This is why she's reading it and not me. I farmed off all the stuff that I knew I couldn't get through. So I think I did pretty good, though. Till the very end, you should be impressed. So, but she's going to come read a poem. It's a beautiful picture of what sanctuary can look like. And then we're going to see a short little video that's another picture of what sanctuary can look like. I just want to explain the video a little bit. It's put out by Oslo Pride. Some of you might have seen it online already. Because it's put out by them, it's really focusing on the LGBTQ plus community, but I think it's something that we can all relate to. It's that idea of people are often in spaces where they don't feel safe. And sometimes the smallest thing that you do can make them feel safe. And what a difference that makes to people when you do that. So we're going to have the poem, we're going to have the short video, and then we're going to finish with our last song together. But as you're going through the rest of your day and throughout the rest of this week, my encouragement to you is to think about that idea of sanctuary. Think about all the ways that you have received sanctuary, but also where can you push it out into the world in the most unusual, out-of-the-way places? Where can you be that sanctuary for people when they really need it?
Gate A4 by Naomi Shihab Nye. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. "Help," said the flight attendant. "Talk to her. What is her problem?" We told her the flight was going to be late, and she did this. I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. The minute she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, we're fine. You'll get there just later. Who is picking you up? Let's call him." We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons, just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, that they shared 10 friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and let them chat with her? This all took up 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamoul cookies, little powdered sugar, crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts from her bag, and was offering them to all of the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo, we were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There is no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered with powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves. Such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant, always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in, the shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying and confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost.
Father, in our hearts you've placed a prayer for the mission of your kingdom everywhere. To be doers of the word, to be a people of good works that you've prepared. Fruits of faith are pure and unstained, to serve orphans and widows in their pain, to keep ourselves from pride and in trial and temptations to remain. Let your kingdom come, let your will be done. Let us be your hands and feet, Lord, let us serve as one. Let us be the church, let us take courage, let us see Christ in his people, let us bring you home by the power of the Spirit, for the love of Jesus Christ. Let us be the church. Let us be the church. Teach us how to love and how to live. Teach us to show up when no one will. As children of your mercy, may the love of Christ in us be evident. Oh, may the love of Christ in us be evident. Oh, let us be the church. Let us take courage. Let us see Christ in his people. Let us bring you home by the power of the Spirit, for the love of Jesus Christ. Let us be the church. Let us be the church. Set us apart to be your servants in the world. Set us apart, oh Lord, for we can see you in the faces that we serve. Oh, we can see you, Lord. Oh, we can see you, Lord. Let us be the church. Let us take courage. May the world see Christ through his people. Let us bring your peace by the power of the Spirit, for the love of Jesus Christ. Oh, let us be the church. Let us take courage. May the world see Christ through his people. Let us bring your peace by the power of the Spirit, for the love of Jesus Christ, till the work is finished and all will be made right. Oh, let us be the church. Let us be the church. Let us be the church.
Imago, as you go this week, I encourage you to remember that it's okay to feel all the things all the time. You can feel safe. You can try
Brian said, be a sanctuary for someone this week. And I think that that takes place in just being present. And so, Imago, I encourage you to be present this week. That's where God is, in this moment. We can see him in the past, and we can hope for him in the future, but all we have is right now. So be present. Imago, let us be the church this week.